Hello everyone. In my last video, I did talk about the biology of beliefs, and I said I was going to do another video as a continuation of that one to talk about how our beliefs were even formed in the first place. Our beliefs are a very integral part of us. And I believe understanding how they were even formed in the first place is very important. A very famous inventor once said, if you wish to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything in the universe has an energy that spins and vibrates at a particular frequency, from the gigantic celestial bodies like the sun, the planets, to the smallest of atoms. To gain more clarity on what I'm talking about and how it relates to us as humans, I'll be sharing with you today a course known as energy psychology. It is a very new field. From the last trimester of pregnancy, the last 2 months to be precise, till when the baby is about 2 years of age, the brain vibrates at what we call delta brainwave frequency. In adults, delta is when you are completely asleep. It is the lowest brain frequency, and that is why babies sleep a lot. Delta vibrates at a frequency of about 0.1 to 3 hertz. This is a subconscious state of mind. From 3 years of age till when the child is about 7 years of age, the brain vibrates at theta brainwave frequency. It is the frequency before delta in hierarchy. Theta in adults, this is when you are just waking up from sleep or about going into sleep. Have you woken up with a radio playing and you thought as though the sound coming from the radio was also part of your dream? Well, that is when you were at theta state. Theta is also called the state of hypnosis or the programmable time period. This frequency is when our beliefs, our lifestyle patterns were being formed. It is why children within these ages tend to ask a lot of questions, because they want to know, they need information, they need answers. Theta vibrates at a frequency of 4 hertz to 7 hertz. At about 12 years old, when the brain is well developed, it vibrates at 4 different frequencies: delta, the lowest, theta, alpha, and beta, the highest among the 4. Although there are other higher frequencies that have been discovered, I, however, won't be talking about them today, since they are altered state of consciousness, not the normal waking state of an average individual. I will just focus on these 4. At alpha brainwave frequency, this is when we are relaxed, watching TV or reading a newspaper lying down on the bed. The brain vibrates at a frequency of 8 to 13 hertz. The Whereas beta brainwave frequency, which is the highest amongst the four, this is when we are in the office working, or in the classroom studying. This is when we are most awake. The brain vibrates at a frequency of 14 to 30 hertz. The brain works like a supercomputer. At 12 years old, the brain is already hardwired with programs that had been installed from the first 7 years of a child's life. And studies have shown us at least up to about 50% of these programs are limiting beliefs, meaning beliefs that makes you feel less than or unworthy of, which in most cases sabotages the child's self-esteem and the way he or she sees themselves and even life in general. These limiting beliefs extend till about 35 years old. Some of these beliefs were put in the child in school, amongst peer groups, and in some cases parents or family members. Sometimes they are unaware of their actions, as they themselves are also victims of the same program. Example of these limiting beliefs are: you are not good enough, you are not as intelligent as your sister, you are not as intelligent as your brother. Money is hard and doesn't come by easily. And whatever you tell a child, he or she believes it. There's a behavioral pattern the brain does after the first 7 years of a child's life and throughout adulthood, known as mind wandering. Mind wandering is when you are not paying attention. This is either when you are reflecting in the past or trying to analyze the future. Mind wandering could also be referred to as addiction to distraction. It is caused by a part of the brain known as the prefrontal lobe cortex. This is the front part of our brain. It is about 40% of the entire brain. This is the executive brain. This is where decisions are being carried out. A study was conducted at Harvard University and was published in their journal Science that 95% of the time in a day we are operating from our subconscious mind. It is only about 5% of the time in a day that we are actually using our conscious mind. And that when mind wandering, 70% of our thoughts are usually negative in tone. And what that means is you are sabotaging your health 70% of the time in a day. When engaged in this behavior, that is mind wandering, it's the heart sends signals of fear to the brain. There's a part of the brain at the base called the amygdala. The amygdala is responsible for intense emotions. These emotions, the emotion of fear is set into action, takes over the prefrontal cortex of the brain, where it's responsible for logical thinking. So what that means now is there's no scope for rational analyzing, and since there's no scope for rational analyzing, it interprets them as threat. And here is where it even gets more interesting. The brain cannot differentiate between fabricated thoughts of fear and when you are physically being attacked by a lion. So it releases hormones like norepinephrine, cortisol, and agents that affect the immune system like histamine, cytokines. When When stress hormones come into the body, they also go to the brain and they squeeze blood vessels from the brain where consciousness is, so as to push more blood to your arms and legs. And the significance of this is so you can run away from the lion that is trying to harm you. And what that also means is when you are under stress, you are less intelligent because of the blood that was taken away from your brain. When blood is redirected through your adrenal gland into your arms and legs, it triggers the fight or flight response. This is also so you can fight or run away from the lion that is trying to catch you. The reason why this happens is because our ancestors survived this way, by fighting or fleeing away from danger. Although we no longer live the same way as they did, our body, however, through our DNA still retains that memory and responds accordingly if it senses any fear or threat, whether physically or just fabricated thoughts of fear. Those organs and systems that are not necessary for survival are shut off. For example, like the digestive system, the immune system. And this is so you can have enough energy to run away from the danger that's trying to, or from the lion that's trying to harm you. Your immune system consumes a lot of energy. And that is why when you are sick, you feel very weak, because your immune system is using that energy to heal your body. So when you're in survival mode, it's not time for healing your body. Here are some of the emotions that are connected to survival. Anger, aggression, hostility, hatred, competition, worry, suffering, pain, guilt, shame, unworthiness, envy, jealousy. All these feelings creates an emotion of fear. In psychology, they call these emotions the normal state of consciousness, but they are not. They are altered state of consciousness, as new science reveals to us. Fear, if it lasts for a few moments, it is okay, but when it lasts for hour after hour, it has a disastrous effect on health. If suddenly something appears that is trying to harm you, fear will provoke you to take quick and defensive action. Fear is meant to inform us, which is quite good. But because we have engaged in it for too long, thereby it impacts the body negatively. The decline in health usually begins at the age of 35 years old. But because at that age it is slow, we ignore the signs until about the age of 50, when there is a rapid decline. That is when you start taking necessary measures, and by then it could be catastrophic or even too late to reverse anything. Well, you might say, if negative thoughts causes fear and are bad for health, why don't we do more positive thoughts then? Here's why positive thoughts alone are not enough. The conscious mind learns through creativity, where the subconscious mind learns through repetition. It is important to understand that mind wandering is a subconscious behavior. You are not aware that you are doing it. For this reason, it requires a different approach to correct it. So here's why positive thoughts alone is not enough to reprogram the subconscious mind or to correct negative behavioral patterns. The conscious mind processes information at a speed of 40 bits per second. An equivalent of that would be, let's say, traveling through and fro from Nigeria to the US in less than an hour. While the subconscious mind, on the other hand, processes information at a mind-blowing speed of 40 million bits per second. It is about 1 million times more powerful than the conscious mind. That is beyond what we could possibly comprehend or even imagine. That's even faster than speed of light. So, if 95% of the time in a day you're operating from your subconscious mind, and it's only 5% of the time in a day you're operating from your conscious mind, and that your subconscious mind is 1 million times more powerful than your conscious mind, then it is not possible for 5% of conscious positive thoughts in a day to counteract or correct a program that is 1 million times more powerful than it and also dominates 95% of the time in a day. That will be an analogy of this would be, let's say, putting a 90-year-old woman in a Ferrari sport car or Lamborghini and expect the same optimum performance of that sport car. For this reason, you have to get beyond the analytical mind or the logical mind, because that is what separates the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the big question now is, how do you reprogram the subconscious mind so as to be aware and correct these negative thought patterns that have become hardwired? You can't stop mind wandering, since it is in our nature as humans to always reflect on the past and analyze the future. You can, however, be selective of the thoughts and choose that which is positive and serves you best. So how do you do that? The human brain is like a new computer without a program at the time of birth. Earlier on, I mentioned that from age 3 to when the child is about 7 years of age, the brain vibrates at theta brainwave frequency, also known as the state of hypnosis or the programmable time period.
Hypnosis isn't something strange. People get hypnotized all the time when watching TV, when listening to music. It is why you have to be very conscious of the kind of programs you watch on TV or the kind of music you listen to. And no one is even called a program, because that's what it does. It reprograms the subconscious mind. It has a direct effect on the subconscious mind. Remember I said theta in adults is when you are waking up from sleep or about going into sleep. So since theta is a programmable frequency or a state of hypnosis, what you do is, when you are about going into sleep, You plug in an earpiece or an earphone to your ears and play positive affirmations or prayer that is in line with that which you seek to manifest. It works very well. When you go into sleep, your brain vibrates at delta. It is a subconscious state of mind. At delta frequency, the conscious mind goes to sleep, while the subconscious mind is still working, is still awake, because it never sleeps. It works 24/7, 365 days. The subconscious mind is what creates your experiences, your realities. So while you are asleep, it is creating your expectations, the events, and whatever experience that you will encounter. But remember, the subconscious mind learns through repetition. That means you have to repeat this technique over a sustained period of time so as to break the old paradigm that had been previously formed by the old program. A paradigm is an electromagnetic field which forms a pattern or a structure in the subconscious mind due to repeated behavioral patterns. The first time you embark on change, it's going to feel uncomfortable because it's hardwired to certain emotions you are already used to. It will take some amount of effort, patience, dedication to break out of it. This is another reason why I said positive thoughts alone is not enough to break away from this loop of subconscious behavior. The outcome of this technique is that it will trace the root cause of these emotions, trauma, and bring them to consciousness. When they come back just as an old friend, you'll be able to recognize them. Some of these emotions and traumas could date back to even childhood. It's just like a dentist uprooting a rotten tooth that has been causing you toothache for a very long time. Now that you know how to trace the root cause of your emotions and traumas, in my next video, which will be the follow-up of this one, I'll be showing you strategies and techniques on how to take control of those emotions, how to become the master of your emotions, taking the steering wheel. See you on the other side.